First and foremost, thank you all for taking time out of your day and your evening to be here with us. It is an honor to be sharing what we're doing. What Cindy didn't share in introducing, and Cindy, thank you so much for the kind introduction, is that Cindy and her sister Brenda, that started Regenrus, their maiden name is Love. So talk about an organization that wants to give back, was created to give back to people, animals, and the environment. And their maiden name is Love. It's just beautiful, right? So that aside, I have been so honored to be a part of this process. And I apologize because I had shared with the whole team, let's have RegenrusCares in the background, but my computer isn't cooperating. So I'm joining you from my phone tonight. But please bear with me because we have an incredible agenda tonight, because not only are we sharing RegenrusCares, and we've been able to give back the last 3 years with 4% of purchase sales from Regenrus going to a multitude of organizations, nonprofits, charities that help give back to animals, people, and the environment. And not only that, but our products do that just in themselves. So one of the main ingredients is aloe. And because of that relationship that we have been able to provide something called the Hope Blend, which is a nutritional supplement to our first wellness initiative and children at an orphanage in Mexico that we were blessed to visit in November of 2019. Now, we had an opportunity to meet Bethany. So I'd like to introduce to you myself. I was a single mom for years, but I'll tell you, when I met Bethany, and I had heard about her from Cindy and our team even beforehand, she is an exceptional person. She's so inspiring. She's a single mom. She basically, and I'll let her tell her story of how she came across the beautiful family that she has in Uganda, that we are incredibly excited to introduce to you our team tonight, because while Cindy and Brenda and I and Heather Grace were just so incredibly blessed to be part of the first wellness initiative, we have additional team members in our Ohana that wanted to join us for the first initial trip to Mexico, but now get to join us in Africa as we support Bethany and Uganda Generation Hope. So I'm going to quick pass it over to Bethany, and then we're going to introduce you to more of our team and share with you some really incredible, wonderful things that we're hoping to accomplish. And honestly, we couldn't do it without Regenrus, RegenrusCares, people purchasing the products so that we can give back. But keep in mind also, Bethany will share with you the current state. We're always looking for different ways to support her and Uganda Generation Hope. Uganda Generation Hope. I always want to say generational because for me, generational is just something that just speaks to everyone. But please know, Uganda Generation Hope. And I'm going to pass it over to Bethany so she can introduce her lovely self and share a little bit more of you with everyone on the call of how she got to meet her family in Uganda. And then we'll start introducing our team that's planning the trip. And then we'll talk about all the wonderful things that we are trying to accomplish while we're there yet. And we need love and support and prayers. So please, everyone on the call, we are so happy and honored that you took time this evening to just hear about what we're doing. It's all about giving back, right? We all have different gifts. So whether it's praying for us or joining us in conversation of planning, or you have contacts or want to give in other ways, it's all about meeting you right where you're at. But first and foremost, we're just so happy you're here with us tonight. So Bethany, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you met your Uganda family and give us some current state of what's going on with the 35 children at the orphanage that we're so looking forward to meeting in person next year.
Well, wonderful. My name is Bethany, and I'm from Austin, Texas. And I visited Uganda in 2014 and just absolutely fell in love with the land, the people, the culture. And it just really changed my life. And I knew that I was supposed to do work there in the future. I had my son Charlie and thought that those dreams were over because being a single mom is tough enough. But God said, no, you go ahead, girl. And so I kept in contact with those Ugandan friends. And during the COVID lockdown, they they were in pretty bad shape. So when the daily average Ugandan income is about $1 a day. And so when they're out of work for 3 months or whatever, it just really hit the whole community. And so we decided to do a fundraiser for some food security. And then we ended up planting 250 banana trees, and that only cost $27. And so I was like, you know what? Everything was being received so well. I was like, you know what? I think we're going to take the jump and make nonprofit status. And so we did that. And Miru is my brother and the country director of Uganda Generation Hope. And he helps run our children's home that has 35 kiddos. It's amazing. They're all so lovely and joyful. Unfortunately, 7 of them just had malaria and typhoid pretty bad. So that took kind of a chunk out of our food security resources and stuff like that, our financial reserves. So we're having more of we need more money for food. We need food. So that's just one thing. We have all these other great programs set in place, but unfortunately, we aren't able to push those forward if we're worried about providing for the kiddos. So that's just kind of where we are. We got hit pretty hard, but we're back up and we're going to do the best we can to keep on going.
Kimberly, you're muted.
Let's unmute me. I'm usually telling people on my calls on a daily basis, reminding them that they're unmuted. But usually I'm on Zoom on my laptop and not on my phone. So thank you, team, always supporting and encouraging. But Bethany, just thank you so much for sharing and giving some more information. And we're going to have an opportunity for those that are on the call to ask questions in a little bit too, because we want to make sure that everyone's understanding where we're at with the current needs, because truly here in the United States, we take so much for granted. And when we were in Mexico, I know it was weighing on my heart for years. I'm like, I'm going to go on a mission trip. I'm going to go on a wellness initiative. I'm going to do something. But you know what? Life gets in the way. We get busy, but we all have these incredible gifts to give back. And no matter how you're doing it, it could be as simple as a smile of passing someone or saying a prayer for them. I mean, it doesn't have to be big. It can be the small things in the day-to-day and just noticing those little blessings and miracles. But when we talk about and share such things as this, it's really that it gives us a reality check of we take so much for granted. And for the weight that Bethany and I can't even say how much this young woman has inspired me. The weight she's taken on to help support 35 children. And Miru is 23 years old. So 23 and Bethany's a bit old, just a little bit older than that. And we won't say ages just in case. But these young people are taking on caring for 35 children, ranging in ages from 6 to 7 to teenagers. Those of you that are parents on the call, we know how difficult kids can be at any age. Like, heck, as adults, we're difficult too, right? But we all have these beautiful gifts. And what can we do to give back? And really, it's just us sharing the story because there is an urgent current need right now. The kids, for their housing, that is something that they're struggling with essential food they need on a daily basis, they're struggling with. And something that Bethany didn't share, but I will share, is that the kids, a handful of them have been very, very sick. So their emergency fund that they had has been depleted because of the kids being sick and needing to care for the kids. So imagine you wake up in the morning, you aren't sure if you have shelter for your kids. You don't know if you can feed your kids. And this gets a little emotional, right? Because your kids are sick and you can't take care of them. I mean, Bethany just shared with you this beautiful story of how she got to know her family in Uganda and how on a daily basis she built up Uganda Generation Hope to support them and has carried a major burden. So I feel so fortunate that we're all in this together to pray for her, be there for support, and however people want to contribute from today or in the future, just put it on your heart to, if you want to support this, we greatly appreciate it. And we'll have links out there for you to be able to make a donation if that's what you're feeling called to do. But honestly, prayer is the greatest thing that we could ask for at this point, because we're just trying to find solutions for essential current needs. And then we're also going to be doing a lot of fundraising. So I can't wait to share more of our team with you, because we have an exceptional, like literally divine intervention of the people that are coming into play to join us on this trip. Women of all ages, college students. I mean, it's incredible of all of these gifts that want to pour into this trip and help these 35 children. So again, maybe you know someone that you could get us in contact with. Really, we're so happy that you're just here and hearing our story. So thank you again, first and foremost, for that. But with this, I would like to introduce you to the rest of our team, because Bethany and Cindy, you've met so far. I'd also like the opportunity for Brenda and then Heather to be able to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about them. Now, Cindy is in Denton, Texas. I'm in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. And I'm going to hand it over and I don't mean to put you guys on the spot, but I want you to meet our team because it's pretty incredible. So Brenda, if you don't mind going first, and then Heather lead, and then I want you to pass it off to another team member, which would be Brenda's beautiful daughter and granddaughter. So it's Jessica and Macy will also be joining us. So I want to make sure that you are introduced to them. But a friend of mine that, you meet people that you have a connection with, and then years go by that you don't get a chance to see them. Well, that's Julie Reynolds. Had play dates with our teenage and adult kids when they were little. So I want it to then be passed to Julie. So Brenda, would you start us off? Hand it off to Heather. And then Heather, if you will hand it off to Jess and Macy. And then Jess and Macy, if you will hand it off to Julie and Hannah, if they're both available. I know I saw Julie, but I'm trying to swipe through to see everyone that's on the call, and big kisses to my family and friends that are on the call as well. So Brenda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. I'm just excited. And as Kimberly said, getting to know Bethany and getting to know Raphael, I saw that he's joined us, and hoping to hear from him, and just to follow the kids and seeing the beautiful faces on Facebook and that Raphael posts for us so that we can keep track of the kiddos and watch them grow and be involved when they need us most. I really thoroughly enjoyed meeting my next folk, Heather, when she came with us to Mexico. That was where we were first met. And, I think we can all agree that was an experience that we all shared that I think was the first for many of us. I know for me, certainly it was. And I am so excited to be able to replicate that and to bring all of what we brought to Mexico to Uganda. And I know that I'm trying to convince my husband to come with us, so I think he'll be here as well. But I really am looking forward to getting out and getting a big hug from Raphael and from Bethany, and to be able to really just get comfortable and get to know the kids much more than what we see now. So Heather, I don't know, what do you want to add?
Brenda, where are you located?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am located just outside Washington, D.C. in Virginia.
And honestly, that's just an incredible blessing in itself. Our team is all across the country and all across the world. Like, how many organizations you get to have conversations with that it's literally gifts and experience spread all across the country and all across the world. So I want to make sure everyone knows where you're located as well, because it really is incredible and a beautiful addition to our conversation. So Heather Grace.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Grace, and I'm located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So kind of close to Kimberly and a lot of the other fabulous people that are joining us today. And as Kimberly and Brenda have said, I had the amazing opportunity to, one, meet these women, and then two, be a part of such a great volunteer mission that we did in Mexico. So I know those of you that know these women, you know how it's just incredibly inspiring and intelligent and creative they are. So I just learned a lot from all of them, and we got to provide so many special experiences to all the people that we interacted with in Mexico. And I am so excited to be a part of another mission trip with these women and have a kind of a different kind of role in helping all of us fulfill everything that we want to. So very, very excited to do that. And also wanted to thank those of I have some very dear friends that I've been friends with for a very long time that joined the call today. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining, and so excited for you to be a part of this in any way that you can be. And I just think this is an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone involved and just learning about your amazing stories and how we're going to help all these children and the community in Uganda. So I will pass it on to Jessica and Macy.
Yes, hey. Unfortunately, you just get me tonight because Macy is actually moving into her dorm as we speak. I know. She goes to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, her dream school. My little goal setter set her goal and got into her dream school. So this is, as you know, freshman year 2020 was just horrid for any high school senior and college freshman. So she's getting a fresh start for her sophomore year at college. So, but I know that she would want me to say how absolutely excited she is to be a part of the Uganda mission trip. This will be the first mission trip for both of us, but it's something that both of us, it's a dream that we've both shared that we've wanted to do. She loves to travel as well as, myself, and learn about new cultures, learn about new people. And I mean, Miru just like stole our hearts, like long time ago. He's just such a great, kind and loving soul. And I cannot wait to spend more time with him and all of the kiddos. It's just going to be such a great time. So just so excited to be a part of it. Thank you. Julie.
I'm Julie Rupina Reynolds, and my daughter is Hannah Reynolds, and she's not here. But she is going to be a junior at University of Wisconsin-Madison. I live in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. She goes to school in Madison, Wisconsin. And I was volunteering for a program. It's called Safe Families for Children. And I was looking for a playpen and I was hosting a 1-year-old for a couple weeks while mama needed some rest and relaxation. And I posted on my Facebook, I'm looking for a playpen, and Kimberly's like, I have one. Well, so that got us reconnected. And as I was there, I was telling her about Hannah, and she was telling me about Bethany, and I said, well, Bethany and Hannah need to meet each other. And that's how we got involved with this awesome opportunity. So I'm planning to bring both of my kids. I'm newly widowed, and so I'm planning to bring both of my kids. The whole family's coming. I've got a senior in high school And then Hannah will be a junior in college. And so we are looking forward to it. I've got a bunch of friends on the call, all helpers. I have a lot of friends in the helping field, and they are here. And so I hope that they can join in our mission. And I would encourage everybody to follow Uganda Generation Hope on social media, and you'll see those adorable kiddos. And I cannot wait to teach them how to play games and I'm just excited to play with the kids.
Well, I would like to brag on Hannah a little more, because at yet another inspiring young woman that has done so much for her community and for just volunteering and contributing to organizations, just exceptional with how she has such a gift for outreach. And also she's interning for an organization this summer that we're looking to get some ideas from to help support some of the women's efforts that we'll be doing as well. So such yet another inspiration and incredible opportunity for us to be able to do further outreach beyond what we could have ever imagined. So we're so blessed by you, Julie and Hannah, and this whole team. Would we like to pass it over to any of our other guests that are on the call before I focus on two special guests? And that would be Miru and Sister Mary Cecilia. So let me tell you a little story. I just want to make sure we're not missing out on anyone that is on the planning committee that the team wants to introduce before we talk about introduce you to two of our special guests.
I would like to introduce, well, Bridget Koch, which is under my name, but just wait, Bridget.
Yeah, couldn't get in, sorry. Somehow had to go under Julie's name.
So there's two Julie Reynolds, but this is Bridget, and she's excited, and you can introduce yourself, Bridget.
Yeah, I met some of you on the last call. Me and my daughter, she's also going to be a junior at Madison. She's going to graduate with a global health degree, and her and I plan on coming along. I'm a registered nurse, looking to do whatever is needed, just like to be a worker bee. So whatever you want to assign to me, her and I will do. So I saw I met some of you last time.
Wonderful. Welcome, Bridget. We're so happy to see you again.
And Kim, I want one of those shirts.
Absolutely. Everyone on the team gets one. So absolutely. Don't think you're going to get away with not getting one of these, because let me tell you, talk about talent. So Jess's Macy designed these shirts. So I'm probably not going to do this justice, but awesome. Sorry to put my chest in everyone's face here, but let me tell you, it's an infant, it's an elephant, it's the world, it's a heartbeat connecting us all together, and the circle of life. And really the whole purpose of Regenrus is regenerating generosity. That's what it's all about. Like, bottom line, that's why Cindy and Brenda started this company. So it's incredible. So if anyone wants a shirt, let us know. Everyone on the team definitely gets one. But those of you that are not on the team, I'm just saying, you might have an opportunity to purchase one, and then those proceeds go to the kiddos. So keep it in mind if you're interested, because we're happy to share them. So Bridget, thank you for noting that. I would have forgotten to tell everyone all about that.
Yes, and Bridget, I have yours. I do need to mail. I'm just down in Austin playing with grandbabies in Bethany. So I need to get back up there so we can get yours mailed.
Great, thank you.
You're so welcome, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Now I wanted to make sure we weren't leaving anyone else out. I got everyone on the planning team, right? I'm trying to scroll through and make sure I'm recognizing everyone, because we wouldn't be where we are without this amazing planning team and those that are continuing to come on board to add to the growth of this incredible team. We need lots of hands and feet. And again, like I said, if you're able to join us, fantastic. If you're able to just pray for us or just have good intentions out there for us, we'll meet you wherever you're at, because we just need a lot of love sent our way so that we can make sure we're as successful as possible, both meeting those current urgent needs for housing and food and health, and being able to support the 35 kiddos. And then as we plan out our trip, we'll be having some more fundraisers and different ways for you to be able to contribute as well. So lots of exciting things going on. So next, I have to introduce you all to Miro. This young man is so incredible. And just as Jess said, when you start following Uganda Generation Hope, you're going to fall in love with him and Bethany, just like we did, because he is exceptional. He has a heart for the Lord. He has a heart for taking care of 35 children. Yes, 35. It's not a 3 or a 5. It's them together. So literally an angel on earth, a young man that inspires us on a daily basis. So Miro, I know you're not feeling well. So if you're not up to speaking, you don't have to, but I would love if you just said a few words to the group on the call if you can. All right. Miro, if you're talking, you're on mute. And if you're not feeling well, please don't feel pressured to speak. We'll just keep raving about you on the call. That's not a problem. All right.
Internet can be issues sometimes.
It could
Sorry.
be internet issues, right? That's what I was thinking.
And it's
too.
literally 3 o'clock in the morning there. So he's such a champ, always
Yes.
joining us at all times of the day and night. So that is incredible just in itself. So we're going to let him
Hello.
rest.
Oh, he's
there you
there.
go.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all.
Hey, Mukwano.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't turn on my video because our power is off and the battery is running low, but I just wanted to tell you all that I'm so proud of all of you having put all this amazing team of people together, and I'm so glad and proud to be working with all of you, and super excited to have you over next year by God's grace, and I hope all goes well. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Miro,
Thank you, Miro.
How are the sick kids?
They are recovering. We were taken from the hospital. We were discharged from the hospital. So now we are making sure that they receive their dosages of medicine, and they get food to eat and enough rest, enough drinks. So there's still a lot of work to do, but at least now we know that they will be fine and they're out of the danger zone from the diseases they had acquired. Also, we have put up measures to make sure that they don't go as far as play places which could be infested with mosquitoes or dirty water. So we are keeping a keen eye on them to make sure that they are okay. What caused this was the initial lockdown that we had been into. They had gotten bored. They started loitering around, you know. It's very hard to control little kids when they are bored. I'm sure all of you know this. But we try our best to keep them in check, and they're really sweet kids that really you could use our guidance. So thank you so much for everyone who contributed to the emergency call. It was a lot to ask for, and none of us saw it coming. But as you know, the Lord always takes care of his family and children, and here we are. So this is another thing to be thankful about, and we should use it as something to also keep us more focused onto whatever it is we are planning, because we know that God is with us every step of the way. Yeah.
Amen. And unfortunately, Miro got sick after taking care of all those kids. He ended up getting the flu. So he's just our best, our trooper. Thank you so much, Miro. We love you.
Thank you.
Take care, Miro. You're going to be in all of our prayers to have a speedy recovery. Did anyone else have any questions for Miro? All right, we're going to let him rest then. And I'm going to tell you, talk about divine intervention. So Cindy was on a road trip. She started on the East Coast. She made her way over to the Midwest. She was in Minneapolis. She wasn't even supposed to be at the place she was at. And she's talking about our trip in Uganda. And what happens? Out of nowhere comes a beautiful, shining angel, a Ugandan nun. Oh, Cindy, I love that you brought this picture up. Look at Cindy. She's in shock because this beautiful, tall Ugandan nun walks over to her table. And actually, Cindy, I don't want to steal the thunder. I would love for you to tell a little bit more about this introduction because it really is an incredible story.
It was definitely divine intervention. I just can't tell you when, we were sitting there in deep in conversation with Reverend Carl and his beautiful wife, Susan, and sitting with me was Heather. Like we said, we were not supposed to be at this restaurant at all, but last minute things, we couldn't, it was attached to the hotel I was staying in. So we just said, let's just go there to make it easy. And then Sister Marie Cecilia, who is on this call, can share too. She wasn't supposed to be at that restaurant, and she was with her driver. And I look up and she starts to talk, and we're obviously doing the niceties of welcoming, and then where are you from? And she says Uganda, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, we were just deep into conversation. How can we help Uganda Generation Hope more? And we need more people that to really help connecting us with the right people, because we know that we've got wonderful people on the ground in Uganda, but what more can we do? And I met this beautiful angel that appeared beside me during the deepest conversation of Uganda Generation Hope and how we want to do even more. So Sister Marie, Cecilia, without further ado, I would love it if, I'm not sure if you're able to get on video, and if you could, it'd be fabulous. I'd love for you to join us, and welcome to the RegenrusCares Uganda Generation Hope team.
Thank you so much, Cindy and the team. Good to see you all again. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as Cindy was saying, my name is Sister Mary Cecilia. I come from Uganda, the northern part of Uganda. Miru, I come from Gulu. Are you in Jinja?
Nice to meet you, Sister Cecilia. I come from Busoga. I'm a Musoga from Eastern.
I saw the Muiru name. So are you
Yes.
Jinja or you are in Iganga?
I'm in Iganga. We are based in Iganga, sister.
Okay, that's good. Good to meet you. So,
nice to meet you too.
Yeah, indeed, when you talk about God's providence, God surprises you. At that day, what date was it? I think it was the 8th.
Yeah, it was on a Sunday evening. I know that. And I was thinking, I think it was the 18th. I think you're correct, Sister Mary.
18th of July. And I'd been on a mission to St. Cloud. And so I came and I wanted to spend the night near the airport so that I could catch my plane the following morning at 8:30. And I was with a friend who gave me the ride. And so we went to some restaurant to look for food. We were hungry after mission. And I went there and the crowd was so huge. And I told her, I just want some quiet place. I don't want noise at this time. I wanted some quiet place, and said, but where are we going to get some quiet place? It's the first time that I was in Minnesota. I'd never been there, like stopping over there. And so then near the place, the inn where we're putting up was this steakhouse. And then she said, you know what, there is a steakhouse here. I said, okay, let's go and unpack our things, leave them in the room, and then we take a walk and see whether we can grab something there. So that's how we went into the restaurant and we had our nice dinner. And as I was walking out, I'm not sure whether it was Cindy or what was
Susan.
that?
Susan. Mm-hmm. She was facing you. You were, and she stopped, and I looked up in this vision.
Susan had gotten up and wanted to talk to me earlier, and she walked around our table, but somehow there was a distraction, so she didn't reach me. So as I was coming, she greeted me. I greeted. And then she asked, where are you from? I said, I am from Uganda. And everybody was like, And one thing led to the other, one thing led to the other. Actually, we ended up with a beautiful moment of prayer in the lobby of the restaurant. It was already past time. I think the people in the steakhouse did not know what to do with us.
It's so true.
They couldn't stop us because, first of all, the excitement was a lot and the sharing was very deep and big. And then we reached this time and we made a cycle. We held hands, were in prayer. I don't know. I think the Lord can do his things in his own way. And everybody left the restaurant except us. And the waiters and the waitresses were there. Nobody could touch us. We finished our prayer. Then said good night to each other. And then that's how we parted and we exchanged contact. And since then, we've been in contact. And of course, with the work that you are doing, it's a noble thing. And I want to thank you, Muru, for doing what you do down there. It's not common to see an African man taking care of children. It's normally women who do these things. So for him to be able to do what he does is already a sign that there is a big shift in our community and the young people are doing things differently. And I'm happy about that. So and so we talked about this this project and just sharing what you are doing. I think it is a noble thing because our social system that used to support orphans, you know, like if somebody was orphaned, an aunt took you up, an uncle or a grandpa took you up, that social system collapsed quite fast because of the different civil wars and unrest and even the shift in the economy and movement of population and families getting more and more separated, responsibilities, say more and more people falling into poverty. I would say when I was growing up, we didn't have money in the family, but my father did have animals like chicken, like goats, like cow. We didn't have the cash as it is now in the, but we did have enough to handle. But these days, a lot of families are also falling into poverty because of land grabbing, or simply the economy has become so cash oriented that the subsistence economy does not hold anymore. So many families are not able to make ends meet. And so now places to keep children who do not have somebody to care for them like that, especially at their tender age when they're not able to care for themselves, is really something, and it's a noble thing to do. Otherwise they end up on the streets, otherwise they end up, you know, abused, and they end up in very bad situations. So I thought that was a good thing. And when Cindy was it Cindy, there was a discussion there whether the orphanages should be merged into one, because there is a place in Luwero, there is a place in Iganga. I said, do not merge, keep them where they are. First of all, being within the context where your situation, where you are found, is good for the kids. If you relocate them, then they get lost in very many ways, culturally and socially. Even if they are orphans, they are still able to see an environment that is familiar to them. So we talked about that also, but of course challenges will come, and Muru is on the ground and he will advise on what is the best course of action with the kids, and he's living it minute by minute. He will be able to advise. So that's how I came to come in, and I'm here. I can offer any contextual information. Although I'm here now in Pennsylvania, in Scranton, in Pennsylvania. I've not been home since January 2020. That was the last time I was in Uganda. Yeah. So
I have a question.
Yes.
For Muru. How do the kids get to the orphanage? Like how do they get from being, how do they get to be orphans into this particular orphanage?
in as far as I know, there is no structure. Probably it is by simply hearing about a child and looking for that child, or through word of mouth, people are talking about there is a child like this, like that. Information passes by. There's no structure, like a social service structure. A few times you can get information from the police to say, oh, a child has been thrown here, or something like that. But Muiro, if you could give an answer to that, how do you get the children, at least to be more practical?
Thank you so much for that brilliant question. And once again, so honored to be on this call with all of you. So on the issue of how the child, like how we get the kids into the orphanage, I'll reflect back at a few years ago and give you an example of at least how a few of them were brought into our home. So as we moved into Busai village, where we are staying in Iganga, we got in contact with the local enforcement. I'm talking about police, I'm talking about chairman, I'm talking about all these village leaders who could be in best position to let us know of what children are in need and how best we can help. Ideally speaking, I don't think like an orphanage setting, and I don't believe like an orphanage setting is ultimately the best way of caring for children. Our first approach is trying to see if we can reintegrate them into their family-based homes and their families if they are still having those connections. And just as Sister Cecilia has mentioned, there is no basic system of how the adoption process goes on. Rather, you hear calls, like for our case, the chairman called me up after getting acquainted with each other. So he knew that we were trying to help. And if there was a kid that was mentioned from police or any other people that they have been thrown, like of recent, we had a young kid about 3 weeks old. He was thrown in the toilet by the mother. It is a very tragic story, but I think Bethany could provide more insight later. But this kid was thrown into the pit latrine, and the bypassers saw what they had, the cries that were going on. They came to his rescue. They made sure to clean him up and take him to the nearest hospital. You know, the police started making these announcements on radio about the kid situation and how if there was anyone out there who could help. Fortunately, we had the call, we ran to their aid, and now this kid is up next for adoption. So there isn't really any basic structure that we follow other than making sure that we are in line with the law, and all we want to do is help these children have a home that they never had. Unfortunate things happen to children more so all the time, and they never asked for any of these situations to happen to them. And I'm not judging anyone for whatever happens to everyone in the world, but I guess we just have to love each other in this cruel world that we are living in. So to answer the question of how the kids are gotten into the orphanage, an orphanage, and I'm not so that is not the way I like to call our home, but I like to think of it as a place where everyone feels at home and loved in a family-based setting. I think that's the best word to use here. So we try to give everyone as much help as we can. And if there is any way we can reintegrate them back into their family after making sure that we follow the proper procedures and the processes of knowing whether the families are fit to recruit their lost children back, that is something we consider. But there is no basic structure of how like you determine who is best fit to be with you or not.
One thing that I wanted to say is that we think of CPS. We've got CPS here and stuff, but there's none of that there at all. And like, there's no stimulus checks. There's no. It's just you do the best that you can. And so I think that it's really tough. We call, I think Mira was trying to say that we call our home a children's home, because in Uganda, a lot of the orphanages are terrible, terrible status. And so we'd like to think that we provide a little bit more of a future and Christ's love than most of the other government orphanages.
Yeah, children's home is the best name, because then you avoid that labeling. Yes, the labeling, the stigma that comes along with the title orphanage. So if it's a home, it is much more acceptable, even if it is, the setting is not exactly home, but to call it home, even for the kids to say, we're going back to the children's home, makes a lot of sense. It builds up their esteem. And I like the idea of reintegration. I know there are challenges that come with that reintegration, especially if there's no family member that is willing or that was not willing to take the kids in before. Reintegration is going to be a challenge, and but it is the best way to go. And it may not just be also a reintegration into somebody's proper biological family. It could be into a family that has an open heart to receive a child and take the child as their own. Yeah. So that's a good strategy to do. Yeah. If there are any questions, right here.
Any questions for Sister Mary Cecilia?
I have a question. I would like to learn more about Uganda and learn more about the culture and ways that we can truly help. And I was wondering, I know that Sister Mary Cecilia and Bethany, you guys are amazing resources, but would you guys have any resources that we could go and independently learn about the real situation in Uganda and what the children need? And I can do research on The Economist, and I was looking up a number of articles, and I think Sister Mary Cecilia, I kind of come upon the school that you had opened for single mothers, and read an amazing article on that. So just looking for some direction on where I can educate myself to be a better member of this team and more effective with the real needs of Uganda.
We are coming from a culture that is much oral than written. That's one. And two, it is easy to get things posted online here, information done on the other side where it is so expensive and so complicated. So apart from the UN reports, United Nations reports, UNICEF, maybe World Health Organization, and some of these global reports that give general information, you can also check out online about Uganda's what is it called? Census. Muiro, did we do a census in 2014? Was there another one after 2014?
No, it hasn't been up to now.
So there was a census report. There is also UBOS, what is it called? Uganda what? I keep forgetting now the names. There are certain statistical reports from Uganda government, from what would they call it?
Is it New Vision?
Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Uganda Bureau of Statistics. UBOS. If you check that out under Uganda government, it gives certain basic statistics, but those are general information. They bundle information of the whole country, and then it looks like the whole country is uniform. But there are parts of the country that are much more disadvantaged. The part of Jinja is that area that is that has that disadvantage. the Busoga area. Of course, when we're talking about Jinja is this other bigger town, but the Busoga area is quite large and it has very poor infrastructure and it's not the coverage of government services in those rural areas. We can point several places in Uganda. Since you are in Busoga, that's where I'm focusing myself. There are a lot of the places that they lack infrastructure, even basic schools that are good schools that children could go to in those rural areas. The standards of those schools have kept falling and falling and falling. I always say that if I grew up in Uganda at this time, Mwiro, I'm coming from Arua. Arua is my town. So, if I grew up during this time in my country, I don't think I was going to make it in education. So you look at the contrast, it would appear like me who grew up earlier in 1970s when I joined primary school and 80s, I would have had more difficulty than the child now. But when I was growing up, it really didn't matter whether you are coming from a poor or a rich family, as long as you are sharp, you made your way through. Not many of us went to school, but we managed to break through. Right now, the standards of schools have dropped so tremendously, especially with the universal primary education. The universal primary education is like a ticket to ignorance. You know, kids are going through primary school, they do not know how to read and write. And so you find that kids whose parents are affluent, and most of these are in the cities, and not everybody in the city, by the way, they're in certain corners of the city because majority in the city are also poor urban dwellers. But there are a few people who are in the government and so forth. They are affluent and they have established private schools, but also right now they are connected to international schools like the Montessori's and these British academies and so forth. And their kids are up there, they have all the facilities to learn. So there's no attention to the kid in the rural area. So that is the context of that kind of thing. So because of that, you will find, so those general informations of the United Nations, even of the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, all those are all generalized informations. The specific realities are stark different. Yeah. And so that's why a home for the kids like this is good. And eventually, I don't know what you're thinking, but a home for the school needs to be connected to a school of a certain standard, at least at elementary level, so that by the time the kids are being reintegrated, for example, they have got the basic education, the basic elementary education, literacy, numeracy, and those basic learnings that put somebody on her feet. Even if they are reintegrated, then they go with something. So that's what I can say. So there's not a lot specific information that you will get. Our culture is so oral. We are getting into writing, but we are really not into posting a lot of information. First of all, hosting a website is a nightmare for us. Even for me, who is at this level and belonging to a group of sisters, if we check our websites, it is a disaster because you have to pay in dollars. It's so expensive. And then expertise is lacking. So that's where you're going to have some challenge. But however, read those general informations, reports from the UN, and then there are some of these reports, and the UN has certain specific reports on Uganda. You may be able to get an idea about it. But in terms of culture, and Mwiro, you'll come here, Uganda is so varied in its culture, and the ethnic groups are many. In fact, if it is not English, it is not, we cannot talk across, like with Mwiro, I cannot talk but in English, you know? So that kind of thing, unless he learns my language or I learn his language. So it is diverse, but Uganda is generally a friendly country, although now things are changing because of all this that is going up, and with the lockdown, a lot has even changed. It is a little bit, it's like sometimes I don't recognize my own country sometimes, but generally people are friendly and they like to interact with people, and they welcome you in their homes, and I don't know, we can say much more than that. Mwiro, if you can come in, will be good. Just to give some brief of the context in terms of our culture and so on. Are you still there, or have you fallen asleep? It's 3 a.m.
Oh.
We have been working on a presentation with some of our Ugandan team members to try to get to you guys. Unfortunately, the opposition is real, and so every time that we get something new going, somebody goes and we have, sickness, and so that is coming, and we've got a bunch of different team members in different spots in Uganda. And so I'm in contact with them every day, and we're just trying to get that all together for you guys. So thank you, Sister Cecilia. You put all of that perfectly, because it's very frustrating. I have a hard time trying to describe the Ugandan infrastructure to an education system to the Americans, because it's just vastly different.
Yeah.
And Sister Mary Cecilia, so we had a chance to talk to you, and what a lot of people might not realize is that Uganda is pretty lush. They have a significant amount of rain. So when we talk about different topics of things we want to cover, and we also talk to you about making sure that we go there, we are supporting their local economy. So working with local farmers to get fresh produce for the kids consistently, and utilizing other resources. So we are at the top of the hour. This will be recorded and shared out. So I want to make sure, number one, thanking all of you, because if I am calculating this correctly, we have had 27 people come in and out of the conversation. So that has been so incredible, just that everyone took time to be a part of this and hear about what we're doing. But I want to tell you quick before we wrap up here is there's a lot we need to do. There's a major current need. So we're going to make sure that we get in front of you, UGH, Uganda Generation Hope, because there's ways that we can give back if that's where your heart is pulling you as part of this conversation. Like I said, we're just glad you're here. So if you can help us in praying and lifting us up with good intentions as we're planning out this trip, we have a lot of things we're going to be doing there. We want to help with housing. We want to help with getting them fresh water. We want to do food and sustainability. We have lots of education topics we want to cover. In particular for the young ladies that are in the orphanage, they have a very young menstrual cycle, and we want to make sure that we're providing them with reusable menstrual products, giving them materials so that they can make them, because that's life-changing for them, life-changing. And we can talk about more of that in detail at another time, but there's lots of kiddos with HIV. There's free meds that we can get them access to. We want to make sure that somehow we bring that into the conversation. There's a major crisis for mental health and the suicide rate being high right now. We want to make sure that we're giving them resources. We all can breathe on a daily basis, so breathing techniques. We all can stretch or do yoga to just kind of calm our minds. So not only playing with the kids, which we're so excited about, but just giving them some tips of things that they can do without needing any money to do it. But again, there is a lot of money involved here. So if you know anyone that wants to be a part of this journey with us for critical essential needs currently, or as we're planning this out, please just follow us on social media. If I can ask anything of you today, it's appreciate you being here with us. But if you could pass on something, one of our social media posts, to just one person, that would be an incredible gift to us. So I thank you for Cindy and Brenda always having my back here of bringing up some different options that you can reach out to if you are feeling just a tug on your heart to give today. But again, we just appreciate you being here, your prayers. We're so fortunate that Miru and Sister Cecilia, Mary Cecilia, were able to join us. And I'll tell you, there's so many people that are and have been and will be woven into this conversation of us planning this trip. So again, I have some family and friends on the call. I'm so grateful for all of your support, more than you can ever possibly know. And even some people that I was connected with. So yes, RJ Johnson, I saw your name out there, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you Friday, because he represents the World Orphanage Association. So lots of different incredible connections that we're making, and just so grateful and thankful for this opportunity, for this team that we have that's planning this and on this journey together. So however you want to join us in the journey, first and foremost, we're just so grateful you were here with us tonight.